Following the drama which took place at the Federal High Court Abuja on Friday, a senator from New Jersey, United States, and member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Robert Menendez, has reacted to the actions of the Department of State Services, stating, "America and the world are watching the saga involving convener revolutionary protest Omoyele Sowore and the Department of State Services. Recall that the operatives of the Department of State Services had disrupted the trial proceedings of Omoyele Sowore and rearrested him forcefully barely 24 hours after succumbing to court threats over his release." Reiterating the country's support for Sowore, Robert claimed there will be consequences if harm should befall him, stating Sowore is only expressing his freedom of speech.
The States is watching and the world is watching. I fear that the blatant harassment of Mr. Sowore and activists and journalists whose only crime appears to be exercising his right to free expression is becoming symptomatic of increasingly closing political and civic space in Nigeria. The Nigerian court had twice ordered his release on bail, and the state security agencies openly defied the court order each time, leading me to conclude either that Nigeria no longer respects the rule of law or President Buhari is woefully out of touch with what agents of his government are doing in his name. This is unacceptable in a country that calls itself a democracy. Please join us. I'm sorry, we have time constraints, so we started, but this is Mrs. Opayemi Sowore. The court had twice ordered his release on bail, and the state security openly defied the court order each time, leading me to conclude that Nigeria is no longer respecting the rule of law, or President Buhari is woefully out of touch with what agents of his government are doing in his name. This is unacceptable in a country that calls itself a democracy. Freedom of the press is a fundamental pillar of democracy and an indispensable check on government overreach. Journalists who risk their lives to expose the truth should be celebrated, not incarcerated. Over 200 years ago, our founding fathers had the foresight to recognize the importance of a free press to a fledgling democracy, enshrining it in our First Amendment. Today, that importance cannot be overstated. It is unacceptable to treat the husband and father of a U.S. citizen with such blatant cruelty. So we stand here with a family who is devastated by the uncertainty that these actions have caused. Today, my office contacted our ambassador in Nigeria in an effort to obtain answers about what actions the United States is taking on the Sowore family's behalf. In the next